not China. We have crossed China. So when this is the situation, everyone has to think what is the need for gender audit? Why should we go for gender mainstreaming? Because without the mainstreaming women, there is no possibility for development. Hence, if let us have an audit whether we have mainstreamed the women or not. So that too in the education institutions or any institution. This is what I would like to share with you. So what is gender audit? A participatory process assessing gender equality, institutionalization in an organization's structure, policies, operations, and culture. So in any organization structure, they should select 50% women and if there is a 10 vacancies, 5 for men and 5 for women. And then the benchmark for progress. It cannot be equal to men and women. There should be different benchmarks because, as I told you, for a young girl, the ultimate of her life is getting married. But for a young boy, the ultimate objective in his life is to go higher in his career. So there are two paths, but these two paths are very much essential for the development of any nation. If there is no marriage, no child. If there is no child, there is no young generation. Hence, that should also be taken into consideration very seriously. Hence, the benchmark should be fixed accordingly. For example, because I underwent the same problem when I was in Kodaikanal, it is not easy for the mobility is restricted. We can't travel after 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. In planes, at any time we may go and come. And the animals will not come. And heavy rain will not come suddenly. So if there is a heavy rain or if there is an animal in the pathway, I can't travel. It will be very high risk. And then we will not be getting this network facilities at any time. It may also go and come, and then power facility. So there are umpteen number of problems if you are situated in a hilly area like this. So yeah, an education institution which is situated in the plain cannot be compared with an education institution which is in hill areas. So there are two benchmarks should be taken into consideration for measuring the or for evaluating the works or activities of the educational institutions. So in such a way, the output or the career path or the achievement of a woman can be taken into consideration in a different, fixing a different benchmark for a men and women. It should not be the same. Then only that will be right. And then why it should be for gender equity. Hence, a gender audit is very much essential. It should move into the structure, policies of any educational or any institution. So, with this objective of the this gender audit, let me come to the framework of the gender audit. Gender audits are crucial tools for institutional development, offering a structured mechanism to enhance gender equity. So, for the institutional development, gender audit is a must. Again, you can take, for example, higher educational institution. Higher education institution in a girls' college, all girls will be doing. The women will be doing all type of work, whether going out or coming inside, or reception, or printing invitation, or publication of books. All work will be done by a woman or done by women. But in a co-educational institution, women are used only for receiving, in the reception, and in the softer, milder, or the work they can complete within 5 o'clock. They will only very few people will be doing the rest of the work, which are mentioned as male-dominated work. So we ourselves, we don't want to take up that responsibility. Most of the time we say, Madam, after 5 o'clock, I got to go home. Madam, my husband might have come, my children might have come. They never think that my wife will come and my daughter will come. Men will never say, but we used to say, because all this is because of the patriarchy system, the socialization pattern that is interwoven into our mindset. So with that mindset, we are coming to the job. So we are coming to the job not for executing, but for getting salary most of the time. That is our priority. After that, only we think about our responsibility. When we think about responsibility, also our priority, for girls, the priority is home. But for boys, the priority is job. So these are all the benchmark, and these are all the various problems every day the institution is facing. So when they face all these problems, it is very difficult to achieve their objectives. So the institutional development cannot be achieved. And offering a structured mechanism. And the structured mechanism, I can tell you one thing, that is having a crutch in the educational institution. When you have a crutch in the educational institution, definitely the mothers, the working women will not feel bad because there are someone else to take care of the children. When they are taking care of the children, they need not bother about that. So the for the structural development, we have to give the structural mechanism to enhance gender equity and to enhance their output in the workplace. They evaluate alignment with the gender equality commitments, identity gaps, and propose actionable reforms. This is one type of actionable reforms because most of the time, women, they ignore their health status. When there is a problem, health issue for their mother-in-law, father-in-law, husband, or children, she is taking care of. But for her health, nobody is bothering. So she is also ignoring most of the time. So these facilities should be arranged in the institution where they are working. When they have all these, definitely it will have its impact on the output of the institution where they are working. Next, gender inequality in Indian institutions, the need for systemic reform. Uh, illusion of inclusion. What is the illusion of inclusion? That is the numerical representation often does not translate to equitable participation or decision-making authority, highlighting a gap between surface level inclusion and a deep structural reform. This is what I said just now, highlighting a gap between surface level inclusion. There will be women, 50% of women will be working in the educational institution, for example. But how many of them are HODs? Or how many of them are administrators? How many of them are given and how many of them are neglected? That is also there. So this is what highlighting a gap between surface level inclusion and a deep need for deep structural reform. Definitely, when she is in that position as a professor or associate professor, she has to undergo this administrative service at least for a period of 3 years. We have to say, we have to give. The institution has to give them, fix the responsibility. Because when we are demanding for equal pay, and it is our responsibility to work equally, we have to take the responsibility equally. But most of the time, the girls, they themselves escape. This I know, I underwent all those problems in my institution. Of course, it is a very big institution and a very quality-wise, it is very good also, but still, the change in the mindset is very difficult. It is not as we think as. And then gendered power structures, that is another very big problem. The patriarchal norms influence recruitment, promotion, and leadership. Women are underrepresented in senior roles across public, education, and private sectors. I can tell you a painful and a comedy experience I underwent. When I applied for a vice chancellorship of a private university after my tenure completed in Alagappa University, they know me how I am potential, everything, but still they rejected my application for the reason, what of reason, is nothing but I am a woman. So the patriarchal norms influence our recruitment. It says being a woman, she can't travel all over India, or if she has to go for abroad, she can't travel. She will not be going wherever she wants. She will take her husband with her and her someone as a bodyguard. So this is what the ideology in the minds of everybody. That should be removed. I tried my level best, but still I failed. I'm not able to. I'm not. They are not convinced, even though they know me very well for more than 5 to 10 years. And the promotion and leadership. When there is a promotion chance for a man and a woman in the administrative structure, it happened in my university as DR. They have given it to the men and not to the women. Immediately, I had a quarrel with my vice chancellor. He said, the problem is, he said, I have taken him as my PRO and I can take him with me anywhere at any time. But you ask that woman whether she will come with me. She said that is not possible. So we have to, one thing is the promotion is not possible because of the patriarchy system. That is one thing. And second thing, we ourselves are not ready to take us some challenges. Just like that, they can't touch us. It is not possible today. When you are a PO, you have to think that you are a PRO. You should not that you are a woman. No man think that I am a man when they are in the job. So that mindset should be eradicated first when you are when you have entered into the public sphere. You should think that you are a professor, you are an administrator, you are a lawyer, you are an engineer. Don't say that you are a woman lawyer. When entrepreneurship was the word introduced and everybody started talking about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship during 80s, they added the term women entrepreneur. Then I said, anywhere whether they told men entrepreneur, why should we say women entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. Why should we say women entrepreneur and men entrepreneur? When they do their business, they are the entrepreneurs. So we have to carefully remove this gendered language from our mindset. That is the first step that we have to take. Then intersectionality. Gender inequality intersects with the class, caste, religion, and other identities, creating multiple layers of marginalization often overlooked in audits. This multiple layers of marginalization is considered as it is right most of the time. How it is right? It is through writings, through religious practice, through caste practice, and through socialization pattern. Everything goes like that. So when they are saying it again and again and again, it is interwoven in the mindset, and we ourselves unknowingly started believing that it is right. When a husband harasses wife, immediately the mother will say, after all, he is your husband, why don't you bear with him? When the husband has the right to be happy with his wife, share his feelings, emotions, everything is with his wife, and not to harass. This the wife should also not to harass the husband. But what the mothers and the society will say, after all, he is your husband, he is feeding you. Because he is feeding you, you have to take you can bear with it. What does it mean? When he is going for a job, she is taking care of the entire family. That is a big responsibility. If she is not looking care of it, taking care of it, even though he earns, what should we do with that money? There will not be any growth in the family. So an important job. She is the main pillar of the family. She is doing that work. That should be considered very seriously. But no one, no family, these works are not considered, not recognized properly. So the gender inequality intersects with caste. It differs between the caste, class, religion, but it exists. Entire world, not only in India, not only in South Africa and African countries or underdeveloped or developing countries. It exists in developed countries also. So the other identities creating multiple layers of marginalization. Women are knowingly, purposefully, and unknowingly, unconsciously marginalized in many areas. So from the self-esteem, self-to system, rethinking the role of individuals in institutional change. Now, the institution's objectives have also changed. Previously, the educational institutions are only for knowledge sharing. But the motto of the educational institution today is help them to get the job. When you wanted to join a program, immediately when you wanted to join the program, Immediately the student is asking what type of employment opportunity that I can get if I complete this course. So this is what the attitude among the youngsters. Now it has changed. Every time the objectives or definition of some terms, most of the terms will change because it happens the entire world. Previously, uh, for example, a beautiful word, beauty. So for beauty, every time different definitions are given. Cleopatra is a beautiful woman. She's black. Today, color is a beauty, not black. And bulky is beauty during my grandma's period. But today, slim is beauty. So definitions may change like that. The institutional objectives have also changed. So what is that? In management, we say the individual's objectives should be in line with the institutional objective. Then only the both will grow. And it is I am the person. It is evidenced in my life when I entered into the university, Alagappa University. The university was started just 2 years later. It was started in the year 89. I joined scholar in 88. 85 it started. I joined there as a scholar in 88 and as a lecturer in 89. So there was only one building. Today we have many buildings, many number of courses, programs and courses, and many staff. There was only some 30, 40 staff at that time. Now we have more than 400 staff. Our H index has gone somewhere in the heights, and publication, research, everything, and we have got a very good score in the NAC also. All this because the individual, my objective is in line with the institutional objective. Hence, it is possible at a young age we are able to achieve the maximum thing in the four or five. I think 5 companies are inside in the institution and industrial linkage scheme. So this is what the way we develop our institution. So individual empowerment is very much essential and historically focused on personal agency, education, and skill building to overcome barriers. So we have to build the confidence in the minds of every woman that you are skillful. You are a good administrator and you can go and come back anywhere with full confidence. So for that, not only conducting seminars and conferences, the motivational programs should also be conducted. And we have to make them to realize that they are essential for development of any institution. And the systemic constraints, but the problem is individual efforts often constrained by deeply embedded institutional norms, practices, and cultures. So if you are going for a program in Chennai or Trivandrum or I don't know where the college is exactly situated, to Kerala, if you want to go alone, you go. Don't come back. This is what the words are from the, particularly from the middle class family. So most of the women, they feel guilty. Who will take care of my husband for the 2 days if I go to Kerala or to Andhra? Who will take care of my children and other members? Just think, you might have underwent this problem once in your life. Definitely, most of the women, those who are employed, definitely. Whether any man had such an attitude, how can I go without leaving my wife and children? Their priority is job, but our priority is home. There comes the gender audit. There comes the culture. It restricts your promotion, your efficiency, your learning skills. So this should be gradually, consciously removed in the minds of everyone. For that, the gender audit is very much essential, and it will act as a bridge. We all the time talk about the gender audit in the institution. The gender audit should start from the family. That is the first thing that I would like to insist again and again. So they're crucial for identifying structural barriers and the policy practice gap, linking individual efforts to systemic support. So individual has to take effort. Then only the systems of policies, systems programs can be supported. So that can be corrected. If you are not good, if you are not sensitized, then that is not possible. For example, When I was the registrar of Alagappa University, they gave me yeah, every month I have to sign the bill for the salary. So they brought the bill as men on duty. That includes the women, those who are working in the institution also. So immediately I rejected the bill. So why should I sign in this gendered language bill? Because it talks only about the men on duty, where the women are. Because more than 50% of the women are working in the administrative section, and 30 to 40% of the women are as faculty members. So where are they? Immediately they said, Madam, everybody is included in this. You see, their names are here. Then why do you say it is men on duty? Why don't you say it is a staff on duty? They don't think, they don't want to correct the software, they don't want to make change. The file was brought by a woman. They don't want to, they don't like to understand, they don't want to change it. They resist to change. It took more than 2-3 days. I refused to sign. Only after that, no other go, they have changed the term staff on duty. Those who, I don't know how many of you are from management side here. You just to go through the personal management or marketing management book. Wherever you see, because I'm a MCOM graduate, wherever you see, the manager is excellent in his work, he is responsible. He is responsible. The language itself is gendered. So as a student, when I read that, automatically in my mind, the manager is a man and not a woman. So it will be in my mindset, because when I read the subject, it is in such a language. So we have to correct every walk of our life, not only one or two. Family and the educational institutions, the teachers in the institution, and the books what we read. So the crucial for identifying structural barriers and the policy practice gaps. So what policy they have to take, the government has to take. The gendered language should be removed from the books. That books alone should be the reference books for any educational institution. They should do that. And then linking individual efforts to systemic support. It is very much essential. And then traditional gender equality efforts in India have focused on individual empowerment. However, this approach often falls short when confronted with the rigid institutional structures. This section argues for a paradigm shift. This I can give you a beautiful evidence. In all private flights, you see there will be only young girls, and you can't see a mother. Only young girls you can see. So that is a very good evidence for gendered audit. And then it's not coming. One minute. So challenges in conducting gender audit in India. How can we conduct gender audit in India? Why not we conduct? Why should we conduct? So many questions may arise. So first one is institutional resistance. When we went to a school for conducting a program, for example, it happened. We had many lifetime experiences, real-time experiences to talk about the child abuse. Immediately that principal and a correspondent, they said, Amma, we are very much thankful to you for your initiative. Please don't enter into our school. You will spoil the minds of the children, and that will give lot of problems to us. Hence, please don't come. This is what they said. So they don't want to give any information with regard to child abuse or child rights. So in such a case, if they underwent some problem, how will they, to whom they will say, or how will they identify that this is the problem, and what will happen? You just think it is the responsibility of the education institution, but they refused. So this is what happening. So the institutional resistance, a fear of exposure, discomfort with change, and the perceived politicization of gender. Discomfort with the change. This is what I said just now. The staff on duty instead of men on duty. They resist They don't want to change because they have to make modifications in the entire software. So they resist. Why should I do that? Anyhow, everyone is going to get the salary. Whether it is mentioned as men or women, why should we bother? That is not they are not sensitized towards that. So they feel it is a discomfort and fear of exposure. When we wanted to enter into the school, that HM refused to permit us to go inside. Anything may happen. Something might have happened. So they don't want to expose. The school should not be exposed. It will affect the credentials of the institution. So that fear everyone is having. Everyone is having that. Then perceived politicization of gender. Everybody talks. 33% of reservation will be given to women in assembly and parliament. Had it happened? We organized this program, if my memory is right, during 1994 at Etraj College. All politicians are from, political leaders are from various parties in Tamil Nadu. They attended and they gave a talk. They were able to give seats only in the panchayat, but not in assembly and parliament, because those member of parliament or this assembly is very powerful. If a woman enter into, a man has to come out. So they will never permit, they won't give chance. It is for the past 2004, 2014, 2024, more than 30 years. We organized a workshop, more than 30 years it is laying down. And everybody says that you will be given, but nobody will give. So, politicization of gender. The lack of standardization, inconsistent methodologies, varying scope, and non-uniform indicators. Most of the time, what we are doing, whenever the crisis comes, we take some action. It is not a standard policy or standard action. When you have a standard action and a policy, definitely that will reduce the gender gap and that will be the gender audit. For example, when we spoke to the girls, why there is more number of dropouts 15 years back. They said, even though the government gives us many things, madam, they give us cycle, they give us a free pass in the bus, laptops, uniform, egg, food, books, uniform, chappals, everything. But still, there's a dropout. Why? They gave only one answer. Madam, instead of giving all this, we don't want cycle. We don't want free this bus travel. Instead, let them give us a bus. One trip in the morning and one trip in the evening. Only for girl students. We will not be disturbed by the other travelers, passengers. That is what the word said by all girls. So if they have a problem and if they said to their parents, immediately what will happen? They will stop the girls going to the school. They will not permit them to go to the school. So the girls, they have the fear over that. So no uniform indicators and varying scope and inconsistent methodologies. When we have all these, this is called a lack of standardization. So this will have its result on gender gap, and that will not lead to gender mainstreaming and lead to gender discrimination. So ultimately, the gender audit will become a waste. So as and when there is a problem arises, we should not take. We have to have a standard policy. That standard policy will have its effect on the outcome of the institution, whatever it may be, whether it is a productive industry or it is an education institution, wherever it is, the outcome will be very good. The limited capacity. Next one is that is lack of trained auditors, inadequate understanding of gender issues, and poor data system. So to conduct a gender audit, the individual should be trained in that. For example, in our university, we conducted a happiness audit. So most of the time, they think, what is happiness? There are different definitions for happiness. For me, a library with full of books. It may be a digital library with more of e-resources, or the books which are very much essential, current books, or the very old books which we can't get it from the market, and discussions, arguments, often with legends, All these are these may give me happiness. The environment should be an enabling environment for me. I can go anywhere and I can come anywhere, and there is no stop. So what will happen? I will be doing lot of research works and publication that will have its effect ultimately on the output of the institution. But the inadequate understanding of gender issues, being a woman, why she is roaming here and there, why she wants to enter into all committees, why she wants to become a vice chancellor or a registrar of a general university, how it is possible. So what strategies she adapted? When men are when tried and when man is getting, nobody will say what strategy he has adapted. When a woman tries and when she gets it, immediately they will say what strategy she has adapted. How come it is possible? Who is at the back of her? All questions. And that's poor data system. So to avoid all these things, the women, they go back to their sheds. They don't want to be criticized by the society. Whatever they do, the society is, whether it is men or woman, the society is going to criticize. But we need not bother because you are not responsible for that. You are focusing only on your work. So we need not bother about the criticization of the society. We have to bother about only the family. So we have to tell them how important you are for the job, for your institution, and your job is how important, and that the credentials, where the reputation gives a status to your family. You have to make your family members to understand how this job is important in all walks of your life, and how it gives you happiness psychologically, and that has its effect on the family. That is the happy home. So this is with regard to limited capacity. And then when we talk about data gaps, absence of disintegrated data on gender, non-binary individuals, and intersectional identities. So there is a very big gap in the data itself. When you do not have the data, how can you conduct an audit? On the basis of data only we can conduct the audit. When the data itself is not available, we can't conduct the audit. Hence, implementing gender audits in India faces significant challenges. It is not as easy as we think, because even when I conduct the gender audit, immediately what I will think, whether the toilets are available, lights are available, roads are available. This I can think. Not about that. This is the three important areas women suffer. But for travel, that arrangement should also can be made by the institution when they go late. If that is promised, definitely the women may stay back. And when there is a crutch, and a crutch is equipped with a teacher, because once they reach the home after 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, they may be busy with the working mother may be busy with the cooking and other things, so they can't focus on helping their children in completing their homework. So immediately what will happen? They will be shouting at home, and there will be a lot of problems at home. Immediately the husband will come, because you are late, you are not able to concentrate on the studies of your children. What the husband is doing? But that is what the husband says. So automatically there will be a big quarrel among the family members. So in order to avoid that, the crutch can be equipped with not only with an IMS, aunties, a mentor, but also with a teacher who can help them to complete the homeworks at least. Because completing the homework is how that is possible. For example, NAC says young value landscape. When there is a young value landscape, we can engage the girls after 4 o'clock, after 5 o'clock, those who have completed their classes, they can go and help these children to complete their homework. Thereby, the students of the university or educational institution can also earn some money. The children will also complete the homework. When the mother goes back with her children, she may be going with the happy and with a peace of mind, and she can do the rest of the work. That is possible. Hence, this is the way that we have to organize, but nobody is doing that. Then the policy and the regulatory landscape in India. Of course, the constitution and legally we have all rights. Article 14, 15 and 16 ensures all this. Equal, it talks about equality. The laws like a Post Act, Equal Remuneration Act, and the Maternity Benefit Act protect gender rights. It protects, no doubt. But in most of the institutions, as I told you in the initial itself, under Maternity Benefit Act, they may be asked for the leave. It is better not to select a girl. We have everything in paper, but not in practice. The higher education and the public institution UGC regulations and National Education Policy 2020 advocate for gender sensitization, inclusive education, and diversity metrics. We have all those. But is it in practice? In most of the institutions, they do not know what is ICC. They have it, but it is not it is not informed to the students that ICC is there. When you have a problem, you can approach the chairman or the members of the committee, like that they can say, but they don't say. It is in the paper that they have the ICC. And then gender budgeting, introduced in 2005 to 6. It evaluates public expenditure from a gender perspective with the mandatory gender budget statements. Last year, government has asked for a gender budget from us, and I am one among the members from the university. I prepared a budget and I sent it to them. So it was introduced even 2005, 20 years back, but still it is not in practice. Most of the time they forget, unknowingly and unconsciously they forget. Then corporate sectors and ESG, environment, society, and the governance. Companies Act mandates women directors and SEBIs requires gender-wise data disclosure driving the policies. Everything is there, but nothing is in practice. There comes equity and equality. We say it is equity and equality. Equity is in paper, equality is in practice. We don't practice that. That is the big problem. Hence, there is a need for gender mainstreaming, and hence there is a need for gender audit. So India's policy framework for gender equality is robust, grounded in educational mandates and national legislation. While laws like the Post Act and Maternity Benefit Act exist, a significant gap remains. No statutory requirements for holistic gender audit. This limits proactive reforms despite efforts in gender budgeting and ESG mandates. Opportunities exist to strengthen this framework by mandating audit and linking them to funding agencies. So if they link it, definitely it is easy. But will they do it? The way forward, building inclusive institutional ecosystem. Embedded audits in governance, integrate gender audit metrics into annual reviews, accreditation, and then make them mandatory for funding. In NACA, there is one column, gender auditing. So every institution will fill and submit. But how many of the PRT members are sensitized? They give the report. But how many of the PRT members are sensitized towards gender audit or gender mainstreaming or the importance of it? There comes the question mark. And develop standardized toolkits. Create sector-specific, culturally sensitive frameworks with the intersectional approaches. It's not there. Build capacity and sensitization. Every member should be sensitized. The parents, the teachers in the child care centers, and then preparatory level, elementary level, middle level, higher secondary level, and at college. Everywhere they should be sensitized. Police station, bank, NGOs. So everybody should be sensitized. Wherever they go, women go, they should be respected. They should be treated on par with others. I don't say men, on par with others. And the women should also realize that they are equal to others, that they have the potential, that there is no need for any priority. Being woman, you please go first. You don't accept it. We are also like others. Let us wait. Let us wait for our chance. Let it come. But we are making use of it. Being a woman, you can't work in the office after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So you can make a move, madam, we will complete the work. We say very happy, we will go. It should not be. I am also paid like you, so I will also be there. Thereby you will learn. That learning, that knowledge will give you confidence. When you have the confidence, that will give you the experience. When you have the experience, definitely you will not leave the campus. After completing the work will alone, you will be leaving. So it is like a circle. It is interwoven. So it is not a single component or factor. Link outcomes to action. Develop clear action plans. Allocate budgets. Establish monitoring and recognize progress. How many women teachers are published? How many articles? How many men teachers are published? How many articles? Let us think of it. So, when we compare that, when we take an audit about that, when we measure it, automatically a fear will come. In the new education policy, and I read it in the net also, for fixing the increment or something like that. Hereafter, they are going to fix it only on the basis of the performance. Even though now we have for the promotion, but whether we do it or not, every year we will be getting increment. But hereafter, I read it. I don't know whether they are going to implement it or not. Hereafter, the increment will be fixed only on the basis of the performance of the individual. If that is the case, women will also come to the main line, mainstream. They can't escape that they are women. That so I can go home and I need not write the article. I need not publish books. I can only conduct class. They should not say. They will equip themselves. So develop clear action plan, allocate budget, establish monitoring, and recognize progress. This is very much essential. To achieve sustainable change, gender audits must be integrated into the broader strategy of institutional eco-development. This involves embedding audits into governance, developing standardized toolkits, and building institutional capacity. Fostering participatory process and linking audit outcomes to concrete actions are also crucial. Engaging state and regulatory bodies will create a supportive environment for scale and sustainability. The state government and central government, both institutions should create a supportive environment. Of course, it is in the paper. They said if you have more than 10% of the stuff, you must have a crutch. But most of the institutions, they do not have a crutch. Even though they have a crutch, the women are always in botheration because there is the proper care. What I say is their food should be given. They should permit them to complete. There should be an arrangement for completing the homework, because when they go home after completing their work, the parents should, the mother should be free. Then only she can think about the work of the tomorrow. Otherwise, it's not possible. She will be very tired. Hence, these supportive environments, if it is provided, definitely that will result in the output of any institution. So let us come to a conclusion. The journey from individual empowerment to systematic or systemic transformation is complex, and it is necessary. Even though it is complex, it is necessary. Gender audits provide a critical bridge, helping Indian institutions dismantle invisible barriers to inclusion. So there are many umpteen number of invisible barriers that will not permit women to go higher knowingly and unknowingly. So that should be eradicated or eliminated. While India has made strides in legislating equality, the persistence of disparities highlights the limitations of policy without practice. Okay, that is why I said equity and equality. Meaningful implementation of gender audits moves institutions beyond performing and compliance towards a genuine and structural reform. Definitely it needs a structural reform. Their output will also be good. For their full potential to be realized, gender audits must be woven into the fabric of institutional governance, supported by regulation, standardized tools, leadership commitments, and inclusive processes. If we have all this, definitely that institutions results will be good. So gender audit is very much essential for growth of any institution. And for gender, to conduct gender audit, everyone should be sensitized how both men and women, how this gender mainstreaming is essential. For gender mainstreaming, what are all the factors should prevail in the institution, whatever may be the institution. I gave you the higher educational institution. Whatever may be the institution, it may be a postal or telegraph or railways, whatever may be, they should provide an enabling environment to all women. Then we can think of a gender mainstreaming and gender audit. And definitely the output, the GDP of the nation will definitely increase. When the GDP increases, definitely we can say India is a developed country very shortly. Thank you for the opportunity given to me, and thanks to all. Thank you. Any questions you can raise? Chako sir, I think this is the question answer session.
Yes, yes, yes. If
Yeah.
and
So
if you
for
have any
anybody, you can
questions,
write, please.
yeah, if you have any questions, you can either ask or you can type in the chat box.
I think they are very clear with my presentation.
Ma'am, there are a couple of questions in the chat
So I'm
box.
not able to see some
Yeah,
questions
yeah.
here.
I'll read it out. Um, One is a comment that is resistance to change in gender audit is a big problem in India. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So the question is, can you throw some light on the major issues responsible for resisting the change?
So I told you, when I talk, I told you it should start from the family. Because knowingly or unknowingly, this gender discrimination starts from the family, nobody else. They don't permit the girls. So for example, my father is really he was a freedom fighter. He permits us to go anywhere and come anywhere at any time. He never asked, where are you going? We go for many competitions to the district. It is more than 1.5 hours travel. Our teachers take us to the competitions, and we come back at 10 o'clock or 10:30. The teachers will drop us in the bus stand. It is more than 1.5 kilometers from the bus stand to my house. We come back in the night at 10:30 or 11 o'clock. My father never asked. But even he himself refused to send me to Karaikudi for my higher education. They had the feeling how it is possible. It is a very long distance. How can we send her to that area? It is better let her complete her B.Ed and be a teacher in a school. But somehow I got the application for MPhil and I got the seat also. I gave him the confidence. It is the individual's responsibility. I gave him the confidence that for my merit I got the seat. And definitely it is possible for me to complete that education. At that time, only very few will go to universities for higher education. Otherwise, they stop and they enter into some bank or teachers as PG assistant like that. So in the universities, they don't, very few will enter, that too particularly in my area. And in my family, no one has entered, everybody, or they all are teachers in the schools. So they refuse, right? I gave them the confidence. When I got a job immediately, even before my Viva, what my father did, he has admitted my elder sister and younger sister into FL program. So the individual has to take the step. The attitudinal change should come from the heart and brain. So if everybody is thinking like that, definitely there will be a change in the family. So when there's a change starts from the family, automatically the entire society will change. The neighbors will be looking you. When they look after you, all the three of them have got a job in the college, and they are well paid. They have got a good car and a house within a short period. Why not I admit my daughter also? They will have that attitude. So let us start the change. We need not expect someone else to come and change. No, we should start the change. I think whether that staff from the college, she knows me or not. I am the right person to talk about this. I started really like a Bharati's Pudumai pen. We did many things in our family, and I am the role model for many of us here. I can tell you very proudly, for many of us here. And at the young age in India, I became the vice chancellor. So I took it is not easy. The pathway is very painful, but still I wanted to achieve something and I achieved it. So we have to take the efforts, no one else. We need not wait for somebody else. Thank you.
Ma'am, good evening. Shall I talk?
Yeah,
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Ma'am, it's really, I feel very happy to see you and listen your inspirational story. And since I feel very happy that anything and everything is possible under the sky by seeing you, ma'am. And since I am a history professor, I like to know your father is a freedom fighter, no? So can you say his name for me, ma'am?
No, not that much big person. He is a follower of Gandhi wherever he goes in Tamil Nadu. When he came to Tamil Nadu, he used to follow him. And he used to wear only kadar. He don't take a non-vegetarian. And he is a disciple of Gandhi. And all Khadi instruments that we used to have at home. We prepare thread and we give it to Khadi. And we buy all Khadi materials. So like that he did.
That's great, no, ma'am. It's a great thing.
Definitely. And I myself prepared out of this cotton. I prepared thread, and I myself taken that threads to the Khadi stores in those days.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I'll like to listen, and thank you so much for your inspiration and motivation to all of us. And thank you, organizer, to invite you as a resource person. Thank you.
You say thanks to talk about that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ma'am, to get the discussion rolling, I would like to just ask one question. Or rather, it's a comment. As you said, many people who are in responsible positions do not clearly understand what the concept of gender audit is. So recently, I happened to hear a comment by someone who is an expert in education, saying that institutions or colleges which have more than 50% girl students need not have a gender audit. So many people have understood it in that way, that gender audit is needed only if the number of women are less. So can you just illuminate on that point?
Sir, it is the way they perceive. Most of the time they perceive not in the right sense. They think if the children are girl students are more in number, it becomes a women's institution. It is not like that. Even in the women's institution, they need some specific requirements. For example, if in the girls institution, we need a separate room for young mothers. If they have the crutch there, they can go and feed the child. Because a healthy child is very much essential for the society, tomorrow's society. The separate room is essential. This you might have seen this in the airports. So even though it is an women's educational institution, or women, all of them are women working, but we need some separate facilities. So gender audit is essential everywhere, not only in the co-education institution or women are less in number. Everywhere we need gender audit.
Okay, any more questions?
I think we can conclude, sir. Anything else? Today, Aloysius College, really, I'm thankful for having given me the opportunity to share my knowledge or share my experiences with their participants. Thank you, Neha, and to the college and to Sapo, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am, there's a formal word of thanks, so please wait for one.
Okay.
Yeah, Neha.
So before, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, before wrapping up the session with vote of thanks, I would like to remind all the participants to please fill out the Google forms which will be shared in the
एक एक मिनट एक
Neha, you
मिनट
are muted. Yeah, I think Neha is having a technical issue. Her mic is muted. So probably she was trying to tell that the feedback form is being circulated.
So,
Yes, Neha. Yeah.
sorry. Before wrapping up the session with vote of thanks, I would like to remind all the participants to please switch on your cameras for clicking a screenshot, and also reminding all the participants to fill out the Google form which will be shared in the chat box. So please switch on your cameras for clicking a screenshot. I hope it's done.
एक
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, sir. To conclude today's session, I would like to call upon Mr. Sandeep B.S., Assistant Professor, Department of English, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, Sandeep.
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay. Respected dignitaries, esteemed resource person, and dear participants, it is indeed an honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion of 30th Faculty Development Program, organized by the St. Chavra Center for Teaching Excellence and Education Innovation. First and foremost, we express our heartfelt gratitude to the eminent resource person of the day, Dr. Manimekalai. Thank you, ma'am. Your insightful and thought-provoking session, your expertise and eloquence have enriched us with new perspectives and have certainly left us inspired. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being a part of this faculty development program. Then I would like to thank our former principal, Dr. Chako Josby. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You've always been in our heart, and thank you so much for those beautiful words. And of course, you are one we all always respect. And I would like to thank Dr. Dias Ed, our principal in charge, and Dr. Sinto, coordinator of St. Chavra Center for Teaching Excellence and Education Innovation, and Dr. Livison KB, our IQAC coordinator. Thank you all for your effort to make this function a memorable one, a thought-provoking one. I also want to thank our dear participants who joined us with a great enthusiasm and an eagerness to learn. And of course, your active involvement and interaction made the session lovely and meaningful. Last but not least, I would like to thank Neha, ma'am, from Psychology Department for anchoring the session. You were a good host. Thank you, ma'am. And once again, I would like to thank each and everyone, those who are being a part of this program. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sandeep, sir, for your kind words and for expressing our collective gratitude to our speaker and participants. All good things must come to an end, but the impact of this session will surely resonate beyond today. On behalf of St. Aloysius College and the St. Chavra Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation team, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Professor K. Manimekalai ma'am for sharing her profound insights. I also thank our former principal, Dr. Chako Joski, our dedicated faculty, the organizing team, and each one of you who joined us today. We look forward to seeing you in future FDP sessions. Have a wonderful evening ahead. And I also wanted to remind all the participants to please fill out the Google Forms, which is being shared in the chat box. So make sure of filling the Google Forms. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You may leave now.
Thank you, sir. See you.
See you.